So first, I want to start with the clear backpack. At the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, which is where the shooting happened last week, where all the media star kids, they, elected the media gods, and, we listened to them talk about their thoughts, which is great. I like to hear everybody's opinions. But I want to say real quick before I even get into the clear backpacks, something very interesting that I never brought up. It's not a conspiracy. I'm not starting a theory. It's just a fact. The school in Parkland is called Marjory Stoneman Douglas. And if you look up in the Wikipedia, Marjory Stoneman Douglas, the woman who is named after, she's most famous for trying to stop the Everglades from being drained. So she's literally famous for trying to stop the swamp from being drained. That's just a wild, wild fact. I'm not starting a theory. I'm not saying that it's something. I'm just saying that's the fact. That's the truth. I think it's very interesting. I mean, others would say it's a conspiracy theory, but it's not. It's just the truth. That's who Marjory Stoneman Douglas is. She's famous for not wanting the swamp to be drained. Very interesting stuff. So their solution to trying to stop gun violence, I guess, and people getting killed was clear backpacks. And I just want to, I try to be reasonable. I try to listen to both sides. Like I say, I'm a very pro-Second Amendment, and I think that the Second Amendment and gun rights are there to stop against government tyranny. And that's my favorite thing about the Second Amendment, not for duck hunting or fishing or or stuff like that. Not that you could fish with a gun. That doesn't really make sense, but you know what I'm saying. And a lot of people in America think that would never happen. We're so privileged as a society. In Syria, they're getting bombs and missiles just like sent into their cities. In Libya, rebel forces came into their country and turned it into a slave factory, because they killed the leader and left a power vacuum for extremists. So things happen all over the world. This is not out of reason. Communism's killed how many tens upon hundreds of millions of people. This stuff is very, very real. But when you bring up government tyranny, the only thing people say with the Second Amendment, they say, oh, well, that's so dumb. That'll never happen. Why? Because you're so privileged. And the irony is that these people, they call you privileged. They say, well, you're a privileged male, or you're a privileged white woman, or blah, blah, blah. You're a privileged black, whatever. They'll make fun of you if you're black or Latino and you don't think like them. They got a nickname for everyone. But the irony of that is the people who call everyone else privileged, they're so privileged that they don't even think that government tyranny could be a thing, even though we have one of the most tyrannical governments ever. Never mind. It's just so foolish to me. But anyway, that's where I come from. I'm not a big gun fanatic per se, but I heavily support the Second Amendment for this reason. But the solution at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School was clear backpacks. And if someone had told me, like, it sounds like a solution that a 5-year-old came up with, that they, like, literally drew on with colored crayons on a, like a back of an IHOP menu, and they were like, clear backpacks. And then, like, some adult was like, yeah, that's a good solution. I mean, let's look at what happened. This kid had dozens of warnings to law enforcement at high levels and low levels. Dozens. I'm not exaggerating. Literally dozens upon dozens upon dozens of warnings. They missed the warnings. Sheriff from Broward County admitted on CNN that the kid was pumped up. They're like, oh, we pumped him up with pharmacy pills. Don't worry, we got it. So they don't look at the whole situation. He came from he didn't have parents, so he was living with foster parents. These are all things that seem to be very common with shootings, broken home, no parents, psychotropic drugs that they pump the kids up with, and then dozens of warnings missed. And then, to top it all off, the kid comes to school with a backpack on and a duffel bag. You can't even fit the gun that he brought to the school in a backpack. It doesn't even fit in a backpack. He brought it in a duffel bag. It's all over the news. Duffel bag, not a backpack. So their stupid solution, and this is, I say this when I make fun of liberals or I make fun of conservatives, I'm not generalizing anyone. What I'm doing is trying to wake up the smart liberals and the smart conservatives to not act like that. When I critique conservatives, I'm obviously not critiquing all conservatives. I'm trying to tell conservatives as a friend, hey, wake up. This is where you guys are lacking and you're losing a lot of people. Same with the liberals. If you're a liberal and this doesn't apply to you, don't get offended. Don't be like, oh my God, it's not. Tell your fellow maniacs who are marching in the streets for things that don't even exist and putting into place clear backpacks, please tell them that this is so dumb. This is my wake-up call. So the kid didn't even carry it in a backpack. And they're giving the kids clear backpacks. Like, this is like a 5-year-old's idiotic solution. And unfortunately, I don't know what else to say besides the celebrity elite class, the mainstream media, and the left-wing lunatics. I'm not saying all left-wing people. I tend to be left-leaning. Facebook told me I was liberal. Every, little social graph I take, they say that I'm left-leaning centrist. But I'm telling people to wake up in the liberal community, in the left-leaning community. Stop being so foolish. I mean, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. The kid, dozens of warnings, carries it in a duffel bag. Oh, we're going to make the backpacks clear, and that's going to solve everything. How is that? That's not going to do anything. All it's doing is embarrassing little girls. There's stories that, a boy brought in tampons in his backpack just to troll, and someone put an NRA sticker in their backpack. I mean, you're taking rights away from kids and citizens, and rights that don't even, it doesn't matter. He didn't take it in a backpack. Do you really think if somebody wants to shoot up a school that they need to bring it in a backpack? Like, how stupid do you have to be to think that's the solution? And unfortunately, there's millions of people on the left side who think, oh yeah, we really got him here with the clear backpacks. So before I move on to the next topic, I want to say, at first, I thought the clear backpacks was funny because all of these kids who are trying to take away our rights and trying to change America into a country where, guns are not accessible, they get their rights taken away with the clear backpack. And then they're like, oh, no, I don't have rights anymore. That's a constitutional error. It's like, you think so? So to me, it's a tit for a tat. I thought it was funny at first with the clear backpack. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's really not that funny. It's really dumb. It's very, very foolish. It makes absolutely no sense. It's never going to stop a school shooter. It wouldn't have stopped the last school shooter. Nothing about that, combats the fact that he was on psychotropic pills like almost every school shooter. They just pump our kids with pharmacy pills. Hundreds of millions of people indoctrinated in these, mind-altering pills. And I'm not saying they don't work for some. I'm sure that they do. But they're overprescribing for profits, and this is the reason that we are looser than ever. And they never talk about it because modern-day left-leaning people and conservatives who don't talk about it, I don't really care, they don't want to actually solve anything. What they do is they virtue signal, I'm a better person than you are, so I'm going to give the kids clear backpacks. Wow, thank you so much, Michael Ian Black. You called the NRA a terrorist organization, and you gave the kids clear backpacks. Wow, you know what you solved? Absolutely nothing. It sounds like a solution that a 4-year-old would come up with, write it on the back of an IHOP menu. It's so dumb. It wouldn't have stopped the last school shooter. It's never going to stop a school shooter again. You're embarrassing little kids. You're embarrassing girls who have feminine products in their bag. You're embarrassing boys who have who knows what in their bag that they might not want to show their friends. You're just taking away rights from kids and people who have nothing to do with it. This is the modern day liberal mindset. It's so stupid. I don't know what to say anymore besides wake the F up, you morons. I mean, and if you're a left-leaning person, like they say I am in some cases, please wake up, have a brain, have a discussion, maybe that's not going to work. It's just so foolish. So now the kids have clear backpacks. Congratulations, you solved absolutely nothing. Nicholas Cruz brought the gun in a duffel bag. I won't even say that word. It's going to offend people. I cut myself off. You really, really silly people. LOL. All right, so now on to the next topic, the school shooting the YouTube headquarters shooting. So today in San Bruno, California, 4 were injured, and the shooter, which was a woman, I mean, very rarely do you have a woman shooter. That's already kind of sketchy to begin with. But 4 injured, and the woman killed herself. Apparently, she's found dead. So these are early reports. They might change a little bit, but as far as now, 4 injured, shooter dead, and nobody else dead. To me, this is a success. This is a police story success where no one died and just the shooter died. To be honest, this happened near where I used to work. I mean, 3 people got stabbed, and then the police came in and shot the guy dead. I mean, a couple weeks ago, there were shooters, around where I was, and the police had to close it down and confiscate the guns. I live in a place, in a city, where this type of stuff, unfortunately, happens all the time, and it happens all the time with illegal guns. I talked to the law enforcement, and most of the crimes, the majority of the crimes, are with illegal guns. Illegal. It means it's not a law that's going to change it because there's millions of unregistered illegal guns. And this stuff, unfortunately, happens all the time around me. I've seen it. And to me, when no one dies and the shooter dies or the stabber dies or they get arrested, that's a huge success to me. So, you know, I would look at this and be like, wow, no one died. And, you know, 4 people were injured. Good job, law enforcement. You got in there, or, you know, took care of business, or the woman killed herself before she killed anyone. That's a lucky situation, because wounds will heal, but murders don't. So to me, I'm like, okay, well, this is a bad situation. Let's look at it. Let's wait for all the information to come out. You know, let's see what she was on. Was she on pills? Was it like a personal thing? Because a lot of times people have personal beefs at work, and then they go after people they know. Very rarely is it random. So I would wait a day or two. But the fanatical, I don't even want to say like liberal or any, because I always offend people. Oh, I'm not making fun of you. What's a name? Can we come up with a name that talks about the people who are little wound up zombies by the media and just like fanatical, emotional, you know, hypocritical, fraudulent phonies who literally just scream and virtue signal all the time? I don't know. You can make up your own label for these people, and I don't like to label people, but there's a large majority of people like this who are now saying we have to politicize this right now, even though California has the strictest gun laws and Chicago has very strict gun laws, and it doesn't matter because criminals don't follow the laws, ladies and gentlemen. This is obvious. I mean, no matter what happens, there's millions of illegal guns. I wish we could take all the illegal guns away and only register people, but this is the difference between me and people like Michael E. and Black. I'm pointing him out because I saw him fanatically freaking out on Twitter, calling the terrorist organization. I'll debate you anywhere, anytime, Michael E. and Black. Bring it on, bro. You could probably go live and not reach, you know, 1/8 of the people I do. I'm not saying, but you have a television show, millions of dollars, and you still can't draw like I can, which is fine. But I'm saying let's debate, let's talk about it. Because if you're going to call law-abiding citizens in this country a terrorist organization, it's beyond where I can be silent. It's beyond like, oh, just let them go. You're accusing innocent people for being terrorists. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But once again, let's see how this plays out. YouTube headquarters shooting. Of course, YouTube hates guns already. They're already cracking down on gun laws. And what do you know? A shooter, a woman shooter who kills herself and injures 4 people at the YouTube headquarters. What a coincidence. What a perfect coincidence to crack down further on gun videos and further crack down on conservatives and libertarians and honest liberals and people who actually want to solve the problem instead of virtue signaling. Wow, I can't believe that happened. What a surprise. I never would have thought a perfectly placed shooting would happen like that. And I'm not saying that it's set up or anything. I'm just saying, wow, what a coincidence. Now they can further their agenda of cracking down on guns, even though it's probably not going to save any lives. And I say this because I want to save lives, okay? I want to know why it happened. But when in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, when the shooter was warned dozens of times, when he carried it in a duffel bag, when all of these things, you don't care about it. You don't care that he came from a broken home. You don't care that he was on psychotropic drugs and mind-altering drugs. And then you just try to say, clear backpack, and NRA is a terrorist organization. And, oh, it's like it just doesn't make sense. I don't know what people want me to say that get upset. They probably don't even want to face me. They want to pretend like I don't exist and, you know, go in the streets with herds of sheep, other people who watch, you know, faulty television shows like they do and, you know, march around and hold signs that don't matter, even though most crimes are done with illegal guns. I don't know. I really don't know where people are at and what they're really trying to do, because I've just come to the conclusion, unfortunately, it's kind of like Steven Crowder. Maybe I'll put up a desk and say, change my mind, and see if people could change my mind, because I'm always trying to have a discussion. I'm always trying to learn and listen. I just don't think modern day media, you know, induced liberals like the Michael E. and Blacks and the, I don't know, all the celebrities basically besides Roseanne, I don't think they really want to solve any of these problems. They just want to push their agenda. If it's a woman shooter, no one died, 4 people got injured, and immediately agenda. And this happens on the right too. You know, similar things happen, but this is not a joke. These people, they want to take away people's Second Amendment rights. First they go with the clear backpacks. Then they go with this, you know, and then they go with bump stocks. And then they're admitting on television, they're like, we're not just going to stop at bump stocks. We're going to take all the guns. I went to the march out here, and everybody was pretty much saying the NRA is a terrorist organization and we want to take all guns away. So it's not just like a paranoid conservative or a paranoid gun-toting Republican who thinks this. This is the reality of what's going on. They do want to take all the guns away. It's no longer a Republican conspiracy. They're admitting it in the streets that they want to take away all the guns. And this happened. You know, you could hate on Alex Jones. He's a wild boy, and he definitely does too much. But Mao took the guns. Stalin took the guns. It's not a joke. All dictators ever took away the guns first, and this could totally happen here. It's happened in multiple countries. It's happened in the last 10 years in 4 or 5 different countries. They've had civil wars. They've had people infiltrate. They've had our government and other governments, you know, taxpayer dollars and weaponry ending up in the hands of rebels and terrorists and, you know, overthrowing people's government. So why in the world? What about what's happened in the last 10 years with the media, with the extremism coming from people like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and the left-leaning organizations? What about all of this makes Republicans and conservatives and gun owners and the NRA, what makes them be like, oh yeah, you know what, you're right, we're gonna start giving our rights away now because you've totally convinced us? No, all the extreme left has done is given every gun owner, every NRA owner, more of a reason to never want to change another gun law ever. I don't even personally like guns. I'm not a gun fanatic. But now that I see what everyone's doing, now that I see how the Michael Ian Blacks are acting and how the CNNs are acting and how the, you know, liberal zombies are acting, I don't want to give another inch. I don't even care if it's something that people don't need. I'm looking at the tyrants. I could see who the tyranny, oh, well, that would never happen. No. It can happen, and it's the people that are trying to take the guns away now. Those are the tyrants. Those are the tyrannical, you know, socialist communists that want to take the guns away now. Those are the exact people that, you know, people may have to fight in 5 or 10 years. And I'm not saying I want a civil war to happen. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. I don't. I think we live in the age of technology, and our biggest threats are artificial intelligence and stuff like that rather than each other. We got to stop fighting. Black, white, race, religion, gender, left, right, you know, end the fighting. But who am I most concerned about? Is it the, you know, the right-wing Richard Spencer, you know, oh, I want a white ethno-state? Is it the black supremacists? Is it the people like Louis Farrakhan, per se? Or the, you know, the people who are saying, oh, I want to live amongst all... Are those the people who threaten me? No, not at all. And I have friends from all different spectrums who feel the same. The number one group that threatens everybody on multiple levels is the extremist, lunatic, liberal left. They're more scary to me than a white supremacist, than a black supremacist. They're even scarier than, you know, a religious ideology who's trying to take over the planet. Because they're aligning with these people, they're bringing them in by the droves, and then they're hating on their own culture and their own rights and their own freedom, which has allowed innovation and freedom and technology and all of the things that we enjoy today. It's like the left-wing extremists are the tyrants. They are everything that they're trying to stop. They are the communists. They are the socialists. They are the ones trying to ruin everything. They are the number one threat. So in what way, shape, or form does any of this make any logical person be like, oh, I'm going to give my guns away? I've got texts. I'm not even going to say who, where, what, when, how. But people are buying guns. Gun sales are up. The NRA sales are up. So none of this is making people say, oh, I should give my guns in. You're driving the gun sales up times 10,000%. People who've never thought about getting a gun have already went and purchased illegal firearms that you're not going to take away, and they have it now. So you're arming American citizens tooth and nail because you're showing them the tyranny. You're showing them everything that they've been warning about and worried about for years. So please wake up. You're not stopping gun sales. You're increasing gun sales. You're not stopping tyranny. You are the tyranny. You're certainly not stopping an ideology that doesn't even want you to exist. You're aiding that ideology, and then you're self-hating on your own country. You're like, America's the worst country ever. You know, we're run by a bunch of males, and we need to just turn into a socialist communist state. It's not even an exaggeration anymore. You openly have people telling me, I'm sitting down with literal people that consider themselves liberals that watch CNN, and I'm not saying all liberals, just, you know, people freak out every time I say anything. I guess I'm at the level now, I can't even post hello and people get mad, but I don't really care. It's not going to stop me. But I sit down with people and say, oh, what's your favorite TV station? Oh, CNN. Okay, which type of government do you want if you don't like Trump? Oh, communism. Oh, so you're openly admitting, like, it's not a joke anymore. It's not me. I'm not saying everyone is a communist who disagrees with me. That's the opposite of what I'm saying. I am saying that people who are liberals who watch CNN, they're openly admitting to me in the flesh that they want a communist government. And these are the same people that want to take guns away. And like I said, YouTube headquarters shooting, 4 injured, a woman found dead. Let's get to the root of the problem before we start trying to push a bunch of gun laws that don't matter. Was the gun legal? Was it illegal? Doesn't California have strict gun laws? This is a game, folks, for some people. And I'm not saying this is like literally planned or anything. I'm sure it was spontaneous, random, and maybe she knew somebody at work. Maybe she was mad. But what I am saying is they're going to use this to strict, because they don't care. They don't care what pill she was on. They don't care about the motives. They don't care about the very fact that I told everybody a week ago that is a real fact, which is that London, for the first time in modern history, surpassed New York City in crime rate. London doesn't have guns. They took all the guns away. There's stabbings, there's rapings, there's bombings, there's people killing each other with cars, there's acid attacks. This is stuff that the left-wing liberal media doesn't want to talk about because it doesn't fit their agenda. Me, I'll tell you about the ugly on the right. I'll tell you about the ugly on the left. But the ugly on the left is huge, folks. It's astronomical. That's why I talk about it so much. People on the right just want to exist, and people on the left don't even want them to do that, but they're leaving out all the big facts. Like Britain, for the first time in modern history, the UK, London, specifically, the city of London, had higher murder rate than New York did. And no one cared. They don't care. They're just like guns. They don't care that more people are getting stabbed than being shot. They don't care that criminals will do crime regardless. It's insanity, ladies and gentlemen. It's complete and utter insanity. And I'm willing to have a discussion. I'm not saying that people can't be for logical or different type of gun reform. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to their ideas of what they think can save in the world. I want to see a discussion. I want to see a debate. I want to see two people, someone who believes heavily in the Second Amendment and someone who doesn't. I want them to sit down and have a war of ideas. Somebody on the level of a Jordan Peterson or, somebody like that, the two titans of their ideologies, sit down and have a discussion because I know there's logic on both sides. I mean, I wish there were no weapons, to be honest, but it's too late. There are. I want to see that. But what you're not allowed to do is do what the celebrities are doing and what the tech companies are doing and what the mainstream media companies are doing, what the social media is doing and what the extremists on the left are doing, which is now the extremist left is not a fringe group, it's the mainstream, which is call the NRA a terrorist organization, start calling law-abiding citizens terrorists, trying to change everything that doesn't matter, clear backpacks, bigger gun laws, even like everything that's never going to solve anything. That's just insanity. Like I said, I don't care what you think. I don't care that you disagree or agree, but there's a way to go about it, and the way that the extremist left, which is now the mainstream left, is going about it is absolutely insanity. So I'm just going to sit back, relax. I'm used to it now. It's going to be a long 4 years, 8 years. These people are, I don't know another way to put it, and I'm not saying everyone. To me, before I get into the next topic, the biggest group in America is the silent majority, and the silent majority contains displaced Bernie Sanders voters, displaced Jill Stein voters, Trump supporters, Trump voters, libertarians, centrarians, people who just don't go with the mainstream, even though they might disagree, but they're somewhat logical. That's the biggest group in this country. And when I talk about the lunatic left, or I talk about annoying conservatives who do dumb things, and people get mad at me on Twitter or whatever, I'm not talking about the bulk of the silent majority. We're on the same team. Everybody's on the same team. It's a done deal. I'm talking about the extremist left. Some people will say neoliberal. Some people will say celebrity elite class. Whatever you want to call it, I don't care. That's who I'm talking about. If you're a rational person on the left, I am not talking about you, but this extremism, left-wing extremism, and it is left-wing extremism because it will lead to communism if these people are successful, I'm not saying all left-leaning people are communists, but there is a communist core that is pushing for these type of ideals against all logic. They want President Trump out of office. They want to pass legislation even though it makes no sense. They want all the kids to wear clear backpacks. Now your freedoms are being infringed upon. You know, next thing you know, we'll be in concentration camps if these people are successful. And I'm not, you know, that's somewhat of a joke, but it's at the same time not. I mean, Japanese people were put in internment camps less than 100 years ago. I mean, Hitler sounds like it was decades ago. It was decades ago, but I'm saying it sounds like it was centuries ago. Hitler was within the last 100 years. So when people say, oh, that would never happen, the government would never be tyrannical, what are you, crazy? That happened within the last 100 years. You're privileged. You're lucky. You're very, very blessed that you've never had to deal with a tyrannical government or some type of insanity like a Hitler, like a Stalin, like a Mao. Okay, but people have, and it's not 10,000 years ago. It's not this, oh, it could never happen. No way. It happened within the last 100 years. And these people, the extremists on the left, they remind me of those type of people. Those are the exact type of people who do those things, and they justify it by being like, oh, no, we're the social justice warriors. It's okay. No, it's not okay. And you are who everyone's afraid of. I mean, you go to Ben Shapiro protests, and the people protesting fascism are the fascists. I mean, it's literal upside-down loony world. So that's my thoughts on the YouTube headquarter shooting and the clear backpacks. Just to sum it up, clear backpacks, very, very dumb. I mean, never going to stop a school shooter. You think a school shooter has to bring a backpack to shoot up a school? They need to wear... I mean, he didn't even bring it in a backpack. He brought it in a duffel bag. How stupid are these people? It's like, oh, what's that in your backpack? Oh, we just stopped a school shooting. No, get some competent law enforcement at the school who doesn't hide outside the school, and then maybe you'll stop it. Or, you know, I don't know. At least like a metal detector would make more sense to me than a clear backpack. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The YouTube shooting in San Bruno, California, 4 injured, and the shooter, who was a woman, found dead. More to come on that story, but the extremists are already out because they've been out for the last weeks, and they're just waiting for like a little thing. Give them an inch, they'll take 20,000 miles, ladies and gentlemen. So just know that. That's the truth. I wish it wasn't, but it is. And like I said, I'm willing for a debate. I'm willing for a discussion, but you give these people an inch, they take 10,000 miles. They need to be stuffed back in their little wormholes. All right, so